Allison Rosen. Allison Rosen is your new best friend. Allison, with her good times never end. Allison Rosen, doing the wavy pencil dance again. Allison Rosen, Allison's your new best friend.
Hey everyone. Hi. Hello. Welcome to another exciting episode of Allison Rosen is your new best friend. This one is especially exciting for me and hopefully for you as well because I have a guest in my studio. This is someone whom I met really, if you're going to be a stickler about that, during the pandemic. But as I realized today, when I gave her a big hug, and she hugged me back. It was a consensual hug. We had only seen each other from like the slightly below the chest up. It was one of those things where, what if we only exist as little floating heads since we'd only ever seen each other on Zoom? But today we proved to each other that we have entire bodies. It's Carlye Wisel, theme park journalist and one of my favorite people. Hello, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me. It is such a special event to go to someone's place.
I know. Although I did feel a little bit anxious before you got here because my house is always messy, but it's especially messy. We just got back from a trip, our first time traveling in the whole pandemic. We went to Hawaii. We had a great time. We left for the airport at 5:30 a.m. And I think when we came back, we each had our own separate reckoning with, I don't think the kids did, but Daniel and I had this like, we kind of rapidly remembered what had transpired on our way, like to get out of the house.
Yes. Which
was just, I have an SUV. So to make room for all the luggage. So the SUV had just amassed just mountains of crap as it had become like a extra storage room.
Of course, it's a spare room.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we just tossed everything out of it to make room for our luggage. So we just came home to, it looked like a cyclone had hit the house. It was the absolute worst way to return home. So anyway, the house is just still in a state of disarray. And you got to walk into that. So welcome.
I loved it because I realized I'm not used to seeing actual homes. Like everyone's house is lived in because all we've done is live in them for the past 2 years. And then you go online and you look at Instagram and it's these weird celebrities who have nothing in their kitchen because it's minimalist.
Yes.
So it's nice to know that like, it's not just me who has a suitcase open as much as my husband begs me to clean it out, that is just still sitting in the middle of the bedroom. Like we're all doing the same thing, but you never see it.
Well, but I feel like your house is so, did you hire an interior designer?
Yeah, of course.
You've got like an Architectural Digest home.
It's the wallpaper. It really does the trick.
Okay.
I mean, my husband and I, even myself, I don't know how to do anything. I don't know how to make things look nice. I don't know how to like hold a camera, like hold a phone so that you can take a photo and it looks like Instagram-y. No idea what I'm doing ever. And I learned that you just hire experts. And that's how things get done.
What was that experience like? By the way, this is not what I intended to talk to you about. I have so many things I need to talk to you about. Because right after this, we're going into your award-winning piece on the Utah cookie with the immobile pink frosting, because you just won a humongous journalism award about that, which we've got to talk about.
Yeah.
But let's talk about, because I've never hired an interior designer, but I have hired web designers before. So I'm curious, like how much the experience of hiring an interior designer is similar. What is that experience like? Do they recommend things where you're like, that's just not quite it, and then it makes you want to cry?
It was, I don't want to say blissful, but it really was, because my husband and I have very, very different taste, and they figured out a way to like fill our home with things that we both liked, which we've never been able to do ourselves.
Wow.
But there was one day before we started the whole process where I kind of panic cried because my office, as a theme park person, my office is just filled with stuff, filled with theme park mementos, stuffed animals, stuff like that. And I was like, they're going to make me throw everything out so this house looks nice.
Yes. Like on what not to wear when Clinton and Stacy drag a trash can into their closet.
Heartbreaking.
I hate that.
Yes, me too. And I'm like, they're going to want this place to look a certain way. They're not going to have my weird Tron-themed Mickey, Minnie, and Goofy stuffed animals out on display. panicked. And then they were like, no, we're just going to build you a kick-ass shelving unit and we're going to put all your stuff in there on display so you can look at it.
Oh, they sound so nice.
It was wonderful.
So
and so now when I'm sitting at my desk, I see all my tchotchkes.
That's
it's
so nice.
dream.
Did they, at the beginning, did they sit down with you and did you tell them like what you're looking for?
I honestly don't remember,
Mm-hmm.
but we very much gave them the keys. We're like, we like your taste. We like what you do whatever you want. And then they gave us a presentation and we said yes to everything, which I assume doesn't usually happen.
Right.
We're like, we're dummies. We don't know how to decorate a space. And you showed us a beautiful space and like a printout. Sounds good. Go ahead. And it was wonderful.
And had you seen examples of their work and was it kind of similar to what they ended up doing for you?
Yeah, definitely. But we half redid a house.
Mm-hmm.
We worked with, we basically like redid a Spanish bungalow style house. And we worked with a contractor who did a lot of stuff. And then the interior designers just like did a little more.
Got
and,
it.
Made it feel like a home instead of just like white walls surrounding us with nothing on them.
Right. Okay. So that's how it looks like you live in an Architectural Digest.
It is very
home.
kind of you.
It does. Everyone go find Carlye Wisel, CarlyeWisel. There's a lot of emojis in her bio, and I like all of them. It's very whimsical.
Thank you. It's a vibe.
It's a mood and a vibe.
It's like, because it's a serious job, but it's a fun world.
Yes. And then go and look at her stories. She has an adorable dog and a beautiful home.
Thank you.
So despite what she's trying to tell you about there being an open suitcase somewhere, I'm not buying it.
Well, I'm not posting photos of like the mess, just the corner mess. Now I have like a stepladder in the closet that has become the chair of clothes on top of the drawers that are the chairs. Like it's just,
yes.
It is multifaceted. But if you're seeing a photo online, that means either I cleaned for 7 hours or there's mess on the other side.
Right.
Of the image.
Yeah, I know we're all curating.
Yeah.
But there's like a smaller and smaller portion that I can curate because the mess is just creeping in from all sides. For me personally.
You have children.
That's right. I can blame them. I will
have
blame
4
them.
purses sitting at the front door, and that's just me. Like, I could easily put them away in the closet, and I refuse to.
You know what I don't understand about people who change their purses, and maybe you can. It sounds like you might be a purse changer.
Let me see what I can do.
Do you ever fully empty out a purse? Because that's a bridge too far for me.
So the method I've been working with and like low-key failing at is that I dump all the stuff at the front door. So like the credit cards, the keys, anything that's in my bag, I take it out and then I put the bags back in the closet.
Empty.
Yes. But considering I have that front entryway is now just a pile of bags that are half empty, half full, it has not worked great.
Yeah. But I wonder, people who have a purse collection, how do they do that? They must really be minimal. They must have like you see in a magazine where it's
But
like,
do you have one bag?
that I use. Yeah. I mean, I have other purses in my closet, but I don't regularly rotate them. I pretty much just have my one purse that I use.
But doesn't it get so heavy because it's just all the stuff?
Well, I have a diaper bag.
Okay.
With like kid stuff.
Okay.
And then I have my purse. And then I guess the answer is actually no, because then I have my purse and then oftentimes there's a tote bag that comes with me.
Yeah. I think it all comes down to the fact that I have no upper body strength. So I don't have like, if I accumulate stuff in my bag, I physically can't move.
Right.
So
Yes, you have to be minimal.
yeah, I have to because I'm so weak.
You know, I'm realizing, Carlye, I didn't introduce you properly.
What do you
Because I
mean?
didn't say that you're the host of the Very Amusing podcast.
Oh, well, you got it in now.
I said
the cookies
theme park,
are more important.
Yeah, I said theme park journalist.
I'm that too.
Yeah.
You're doing great.
Because normally Tony's here, and normally we chit chat at the top. And Tony and longtime listeners and even short-time listeners might know, Tony has offered to pay me $40,000 per episode that we do in person. That's how badly he wants to be in person. And it works out financially great for both of us. Don't ask questions, just trust it. It's a great deal for both of us. But he has a cold today, so he couldn't be here.
We love abundance of caution.
Yes,
Yeah.
we do. Even though from a bottom line perspective, it's not good for me. But I said, yeah, don't come and get your germs all over all of us. It's not COVID, just a cold. But anyway, so he's not here. So anyway, I was thrown off when I do my intro. But anyway, host of Very Amusing, theme park journalist, written for all the big publications.
Oh my God.
And just won an ASME for now. American Society of Magazine. What's the E?
So I think magazine editors.
Okay.
Gotta tell you, didn't know much about the ASMEs because I was kind of like, cool for you, not for me. Never
Right.
going to be something that I'm a part of. I'm a freelancer. I don't work on staff anywhere. Usually those are like big pieces done in-house and like the whole team celebrates. But I was part of a package, which is, I think there were maybe 12 stories. It was this eater package called Filling Up, and it was about gas station and just road trip cuisine across the country, and a lot of really cool in-depth stories were part of it. I'm one of many writers who contributed to it, but I've never contributed to anything that's won an award, so I'm claiming it.
Yeah.
I'm claiming it as a we won, but still I'm part of the we.
Do you get your own trophy?
Great question. I immediately looked into it, and I was told that almost no one gets a trophy.
What?
I know. Because the trophy, so the award is called an Ellie, and it's shaped like an kind of a vague elephant because it's Alexander Calder, I believe is his name. I never say his first name, but Calder, he's an artist, and it's like modeled after this statue, I believe, that he has made that is very famous, that is elephant-like, but mostly just looks like a claw. The thing is huge. I must have seen them in person at offices, but
Right.
I saw my editor post a photo with it holding it, and I was like, what? It's gigantic. And I asked about getting one, and it's like it's like no one, I think each publication gets one, and that's it.
And it just like goes in the
It goes in that,
lobby
like,
or
case.
something.
Yeah.
Do you get a plaque?
I get nothing.
Piece of paper?
But I mean, am I
Bragging rights.
Oh, and I'm gonna brag
Yes.
forever.
You get bragging rights.
I never thought this. I mean, I write about theme parks. I never thought that I would be in ASME contention. And so to like write a story that was part of a thing that my editor put together that sounded great and now it won an award.
How did you? Yeah. And for people who are not in the magazine world, the ASMEs, this is a big fucking deal.
Yeah.
It's a really big deal. It's like a Pulitzer.
So my friends, like my group chat with other reporters, one of them was like, this will be in your obituary. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And then the other one said it's second only to a Pulitzer, which sounds crazy.
Yeah, that's so cool. How did you find out that you won? Because I doubt you were not at the reception, I'm imagining.
No, I was not there. My editor was there. So, but they live tweet everything. They live tweet all the awards. So I was kind of like, I'm going to play it cool. I'm not going to care. And then when the award came up, I was like, refresh.
So you knew that you were nominated.
I found out because I was emailing
me.
with my editor about another package that's being worked on that's just like a big collection of a bunch of stories. And I think in that email thread, my editor mentioned that we were nominated. And I was like, what is she talking about? And went to the Twitter because they also like kind of announce everything on Twitter and saw that the whole thing was nominated, the whole enchilada.
That's so cool. So I went and I read the story.
Oh, thank you.
And I loved it. I didn't know anything. I mean, I've seen these cookies.
Yeah, I think the best reference is Crumble, which is a nationwide cookie chain, and they have the most present pink icing cookie throughout the country.
I only know of Crumble. I actually brought up Crumble recently on the show or on social media. I don't know. I was somewhere and the word crumble came out of my mouth and I had a question about it. And I was like, but it was along the order of like, what is the deal with crumble?
Yeah.
Not in a Seinfeld way, but just, I think I only know about it from TikTok. And it was
Yes.
just like, is it good or what is, because I just feel like I keep hearing about crumble.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like I've seen, you know what it is? I've seen like cake, like thick cake style cookies that have frosting on them at the grocery store. But that's a little bit different than the cookie you wrote about. Because what you wrote about is not a cake style cookie. It's not soft.
Yeah.
It's hard, right?
It's more in the sugar cookie realm.
Yeah.
And the Crumble one the flavor profile is different. It's more almond based. The one in Utah that we specifically talk about that originated at Dutchman's Market, which is essentially a gas station, but the coolest gas station I've ever been to. Like you walk in and it's the regular gas station stuff. You can get a soda. You can get a cookie, which if you didn't know where you were, you would just think was random baked goods in a case. No big deal. Not
Right.
like the core, like the home of this trend. And then you go to the left and it's like a boutique. I picked up hand cream and like lip gloss and they have toys. It's great. But it originated there. And in the story, I report on how there's this other big chain called Swig.
Yes.
And there is soda culture in Utah where people are very into dirty sodas, which means like basically Starbucks, but soda, putting
Yes.
syrups in soda, mixing things in, different flavors, stuff like that. And the cookie was a snack that was served with these sodas at this chain Swig.
I've had a dirty Diet Coke.
Yeah.
Which is very good because I have Jenna and Al, who are Mormon, used to be regulars on the show. So I would hear about dirty Diet Cokes via them. And I know this is huge in Mormon culture and then just like Utah at large. So I've heard of Swig. Yeah. So, okay, first of all, let's just get at gas stations that sell baked goods.
Snack Chat.
For me, and this is not what the story is about, but for me, I'm always like, these delicious treats are too close to the gas. Do you ever feel that way?
Oh, I would say too close to the gas station bathroom.
And
there's
that
like
too.
shared air that I don't really want a freshly baked pastry from.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I would have never, ever gotten these cookies unless I was driving back from Colorado to Los Angeles and I posted on Instagram and I was like, where should I stop? Because I have some followers who like live all over the country and people recommended different places in this area in St. George, Utah, which is like my ground zero for snacks on the road. It has everything. It has like, it's this because it's big enough where you get like the regional like Southwestern chains. It's perfect. It's heaven for me. And a few people mentioned this Dutchman's place. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll go get a cookie. And my husband's like, what are you doing? And they're just in a case you'd never know. You would have never gotten them. They're too close to gas. But still.
Yes. Whenever I feel that way, though, because when I was 12, we drove across the country. So I'm familiar with this being like, I guess like a road stop. Is that what they're called? Not road stop. Roadside stop. No. There's a very common word for what these places are.
Why is my brain only saying road stop?
Maybe road stop is what they're called. Roadside stop, road stop, whatever they are. Yeah. It makes me feel like very provincial or very elite. And those things kind of mean the opposite, but it just makes me feel like one or the other when the fact that I just can't get behind getting gas and food in the same place. Anyway. Okay. So on to the road. God damn it. This is where we need Tony.
I know Tony would absolutely know.
Roadside stop.
Roadside.
People are yelling at their phones.
Know. I'm so sorry to anyone in their car driving past one of these being like,
yeah.
Road. I give up.
Road stop.
I give up. See, like when you're on Zoom, you can secretly Google things and you'll look real smart. But when you're in person, there's nothing to fall back on. We're just out here trying our best.
So anyway, the story is about the origin of this cookie and the conflict between Swig and between Dutchman's, and then sort of the trend of this cookie popping up in other places and how it's pretty hard to pinpoint who really developed it. And there's like a little bit of infighting and sniping and stuff like that. So I didn't realize, though, it sounds like you stumbled upon this story, right?
Oh, absolutely. And like casually mentioned it to my editor, Leslie at Eater. And Leslie was like, what? Like, this is a story.
So how did you, because you just, found the cookie, how then did you start Googling, or like what made you start looking into it?
My Instagram followers, because they informed me about Dutchman's and that they're like the home of this pink frosted cookie. And on that trip, it was the first time I went to Dutchman's. It was the first time I went to Swig. So I got to have the pink cookie from each. Okay. And I was comparing them. And a few months later, around the time when I was writing this, that's when like that cookie and crumble really started to take off on TikTok. So it expanded from this question of like who originated this cookie, you can't trademark a recipe. Mm-hmm. So like who is the home of this pink frosted cookie? And now as these chains expand, as Swig expands, as crumble expands, this cookie is going nationwide. And it's still originated with the same people who own Dutchman's Market. They developed the cookie. They sell it. They originally sold it to Swig. And they're still there selling this cookie as it kind of reaches a new level of fame.
Right. So Swig started selling Dutchman's cookie. So Dutchman was making the cookie. It was popular. Swig wanted to sell the cookie with their sodas.
Yeah, because you get a cold cookie. So in Utah, they serve cookies either room temp or cold. And when it's real hot out, you get that cold flavored soda. You get a cold cookie. It's nice.
And then Dutchman's had a flood.
They had a flood, but the I reported the story so long ago. I don't know if I remember.
Some kind of calamity happened.
Yeah, they had
where they like shut down for a while.
Yeah.
And so Swig claims that in order to be able to continue selling cookies to the customers, but the wording of the quote was so interesting, but which I'll get to in a second. But in order to continue supplying cookies to the customers, they had to quickly figure out how to make the cookies themselves because they couldn't get them from Dutchman's anymore. But it was like the wording from Swig, instead of saying like, in order to, continue to make them so that because the customers want, it was like in order to I just read it, but it was like, we wanted to be able to continue selling them. It wasn't like people still wanted them. It just, the way I read it, it was like, if you were paying attention, it just sounded like we wanted to still be able to make money off of the cookies. That's how it read.
I don't remember what was in the story, so I believe you. I'm like, I don't want to self-incriminate over the cookie.
Yeah.
Because I remember we went to lengths to get statements. But yeah, it's really interesting to see like what happened from this cookie that was basically a family recipe.
Right.
And is now ubiquitous.
I thought whoever gave the quote from Swig wasn't being careful about, wasn't choosing their words in the most diplomatic way.
Yeah. And Swig is now, I believe, owned by a different company. I think they sold to a larger food purveyor.
And then you pointed out that some people think, or maybe it's Dutchman's thinks, that actually Swig was already making their own version and labeling it Dutchman's before the calamity happened.
There's some discussion of that.
Yeah.
I was not able to discern either way, but I do know that people really kind of pick their team favorite. And like even now people are like, I will not eat a pink cookie at Swig. I have to get it at Dutchman's. And then they get their soda because Dutchman's does sodas also.
Yeah.
Swig has a real gussied up situation where it's like Starbucks. Also, I should explain Swig on its own because it is unlike anywhere I've ever been in my life. And even though personally I support Dutchman's Market because I always like to support the small business who like their business was almost demolished by a flood and they like came back and it's still family owned and it's a really lovely story and their cookies are great and I prefer them. But Swig is essentially, if you walked into Starbucks and there were 7 things on the menu, but everything else was known by locals and like you have to go on TikTok or read a blog to figure out what you're supposed to order. So it's this big learning curve that's very insidery to know what Swig has. So Swig is like, when you pull up to Swig, it's a whole situation. Like, and then you get this, like the soda's the star of the show, and the cookie is the accessory. And it's just a really interesting visit to go there because it's not just you walk up and you order stuff. It is really bizarre on its own.
Like is it like you have to be in the know?
Oh yeah. We will be in the drive-through and my husband will be like, you better know what you want. You better know what you want. And I'm like, I don't know. Like I'm looking
a lot
up
of pressure.
Like this pile of mommy blogs I've never heard before that are like 47 Swig drinks you have to try. And all of them is like banana coffee and just so random.
Mm-hmm.
I finally got to a point where I have a file in my phone.
Oh my.
that has all my favorites. But it's a lot. It's aggressive.
Yeah.
And it's more intense than Starbucks or any boba place or anywhere people go.
Is it mostly women?
No. I think because we've only visited during the pandemic, we've mostly been in our car. But I have seen an array of people working there. So in terms of customer, I'm not sure. But actually, now that I think about it, we did go to one where we got out of the car and it was a bunch of construction workers.
Oh, so
yeah.
It's equal opportunity.
Yeah.
Well, so I think my favorite, I like the whole story. I'm going to finish my sentence instead of second guessing myself. My favorite part of the story is that it ends with you just leveling a sick burn at one of the cookie companies. You really just made it very clear where you stand. And I like that. Did you debate at all how much of your own personal opinion to put in there? Like, cause I wonder how much that was part of the ASME award-winning aspect of it, you know?
Oh my gosh. I mean, if you break it down, like my story is probably 6% of the win, like maybe 5%. So it's only a little bit. I believe the overarching package of all these incredible stories is what what won it for us. But my editor who I work with at Eater, Leslie Suter, is so good. And so we reframed the story, I think once or twice. I don't remember if that was the original ending or if that came out later, but I always like to put my opinion in stories. And one of the reasons I like working for Eater is that they let me. I've written other straightforward food stories where you can't, but it felt like because the true story was that I went here randomly and came across this. And I really appreciate that they let me leave that from the start all the way through the story.
Yeah.
Because I do have a favorite. And you can't, I know that, if this story was somewhere else, like a newspaper, we wouldn't really be able to do that. And I appreciate that they let me do that, because otherwise you read it and you go, okay, well, what cookie is better? Like, what cookie are you eating?
Right.
You're like, this is dumb. Give me the information I want.
Right.
And so letting me weave that into the narrative, I think, accomplishes the same goal for everyone.
Any pushback from Swig?
No, I think if they were maybe not owned by a larger company now, perhaps. Also, I love me some Swig. So I may or may not have planned a December road trip around going to Swig because I love it. It's so much fun. That and Dutch Bros is like, if people are familiar with Dutch Bros, that's basically the Swig coffee format. There's so many of these.
Wait, where's Dutch Bros?
Dutch Bros is all over the country now. We have it in California too.
We do? And so this is like all sorts of fancy coffee drinks.
Yes. It's a lot of like, you got to be in the know. You got to mix and match. You got to have your favorites.
This sounds overwhelming too.
It's
like, what kind of drinks does Dutch Bros have?
Well, I'm now realizing I conflated them, and the banana coffee is Dutch Bros that I mentioned before. The sodas are all Swig. And I get like, whenever I go to Swig, I get I believe it's like a raspberry Diet Dr. Pepper with coconut cream.
That sounds so good.
It's so good. And then once I drink that, then I get like an extra large seltzer, because where else can you get a huge like 64 ounce cold seltzer? And then I get, I think, pineapple syrup in it and bits of fruit.
Oh my gosh.
It's incredible. So those are my favorites. But Dutch Bros is more coffee based, but the same sort of mixy matchy flavor escapade.
For someone indecisive like me,
yes,
I would be there for hours. Now, but you do this on a road trip.
Yeah, I'm not driving. I'm figuring out what I'm going to drink.
Right, but how frequently are you peeing?
Oh, all the time. But I don't mind stopping, because then it's like I can go get combos.
Right.
Great.
Yes. Yeah, I also don't mind. Okay, how do you feel about a flight that has stops?
Not happening.
Okay.
If I'm on a flight that stops, it's because there's an emergency. I know that like when you're in LA, you have to make the choice between LAX and Burbank. And LAX is a nightmare to get to, but if you fly to Burbank, anywhere I fly to, there's a layover, and I just refuse to do it. I always get burned. It is a nightmare to me. I feel like I am too old and too in control of my life to run from a gate to another gate. If I don't have to, I'm never doing it.
Yeah.
Do you feel the same?
So this came up recently on Childish, which is the parenting-ish podcast I do with Greg Fitzsimmons. He feels the same. He will only fly nonstop. If it's it's been a really long time since I've taken a super long flight, but if it's a super long flight, I do not mind stopping, because the idea of being on a plane for like 16 hours, I just want to walk into the ocean. I can't handle
really?
16 hours on a plane. Oh my God. So I would rather do like, 8 and then 9 or something like that.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah.
Oh,
I would.
Oh, getting on that 9-hour flight after one. Oh God, no. Absolutely not.
Really?
If I'm off the plane, that's my destination. I'm not.
You want to just tuck in for 16?
Yeah. Listen, I got compression socks. I got a lot of work I don't get done. I'm ready.
It's a long silence for an audio podcast. Yeah, I don't know. I also this is a very repugnant thought, and I'm just gonna share it, because I've started a newsletter. That's my new thing.
Yeah.
I'm super into it. And I started writing about this a little bit in the newsletter, how I started having this thought on a beach in Hawaii, and I was like, why am I doing this to myself? But I was just like, how come I don't fly first? When do I get to be a person who flies first? And I was just like, these are some odious, greedy, materialistic thoughts. But still, I don't fly first. I would love to be a person who does.
Yeah.
I think that might change the game for me. Maybe 16 hours in first, or in some kind of like the last time I flew that's not true. The last time I flew to Europe, these layback seats existed. Maybe they've existed for a long time. I've only been aware of them, I feel like, more recently. But before that, was like, 20 years ago or something. And I don't recall there being these super comfortable options.
We did not grow up with that.
No, we didn't. Okay. So the way I travel, stuffed into an overhead bin, I can't do it for 16 hours.
I completely understand. I don't, since I've gone on Birthright, I don't think I've flown coach internationally. I'll do whatever I can to pay to upgrade to then it's like we're not economy, but we're a little nicer.
Right.
Where it's like you're maybe sitting next to one less person.
Maybe that makes the difference. I started thinking about that on this trip. I started thinking maybe it is worth, it's just so expensive.
And it's, you look at the money and you look at the time and you go, make it make sense.
Right.
But there really are two paths to flying first. It's having a lot of money and feeling okay spending it, or being really good at credit card points.
Yeah.
And my husband is so good at credit card points that he just it's something in his brain. He understands it. He tells me what credit card to use and he figures out how to finagle different things. And I still have no idea how he does it, but he really gets the art of it. And that is how I think a lot of people are flying first, is that they figure out the points thing and then they use the points specifically to upgrade flights.
Okay. I need to get on that path.
Yes.
I need to get on that path. Because then I could do... It's not like, by the way, it's not like here I am spending my life flying abroad and making multiple stops. This is purely hypothetical.
Yes.
But in this hypothetical situation, then I could do it and it wouldn't be such a big deal. But if it's anything less than a super long flight, I do not want to break it up. And also now that kids are involved,
oh God, no.
I wouldn't want to make any stop with children.
No. And the main place I fly to is Florida. So from here, it's upper fours.
That's not too bad.
Like almost, it's about 5 hours each way, which if I have a seat that I like, usually it's 12C. I like to be on the aisle on the left side towards the front. Harder to do these days. I'm flying a lot of high 30s, low 40s, which is not my favorite, back by the bathroom, just booking things late. But I can do like that sitting in a coach seat, a little coach seat to Florida, I can do any day.
Why left side? I'm an aisle person as well, but why left?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just a weird thing where I just prefer left.
Yeah. I'm an aisle person as well. However, Daniel went to the bathroom. We did not have someone in between us. So we had a whole row. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. He went to the bathroom. And so I just sidled on over to that window seat. By the way, we didn't have someone in between us and we sat window and aisle with that seat in between us. And I was like, is our marriage dying? Because we are not sitting next to, we are sitting next to each other, but there's a lot of space in between us and we aren't itching to close the gap. But anyway, so
I think that just means you're married, because I booked a room for a wedding last weekend and I accidentally booked 2 queens and we were both like, hell yeah.
So he went to the bathroom and so I was like, I'm going to check out this window seat. And I got into the window seat because I never take the window seat because I just have to pee all the time.
Yep.
And I don't want to feel trapped. So anyway, though, and I was like, it's actually kind of nice over here. What if I were a window seat person? Because then if you want to snooze, you do have it's right there.
Oh, yeah. But I've tried it because I had the same thought process and I fly enough where I'm like, I could try a window on this one.
Yeah.
And from the moment the plane left the ground, I was like, okay, do I have to pee yet? Do I have to pee?
Yeah.
Do I have to pee? Do I have to really pee?
Right.
Can I hold it? Just panicked the whole time.
It's like choosing a middle seat at a movie back in the days when movies were well populated.
When they were worth going to a theater for.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Let's talk theme parks.
Yeah.
So we are going to Disneyland on April 19th.
Oh, yeah.
We have Park Hoppers, which we have never gone to California Adventure with my kids. This will be Owen's first time at Disneyland.
Oh my God.
At both of them. This question came straight from my husband.
Oh God, I hope I know the answer.
Are we insane for going April 19th? Because he is under the impression it's like crazy crowded right now. So
there's 2 answers to this. The first one is that the crowd patterns have been really, really, really bonkers lately, especially during spring break. I haven't been reporting on it lately, so I'm not sure if April 19th is just outside of the spring break window for California. Or
Spring break is now 8 weeks long. It seems.
That's the thing. Like I was operating before under mid-March to mid-April. And so that April 19th is like right on the edge. So it could be very crowded, but that would be like just like any other day. I don't think if you went specifically a different day, it would be different. However, character meet and greets are returning. And this is obviously PR speak as early as April 18th.
Oh.
So you may not get a lot of characters on this trip, which is good because then you'll get more for your ticket price, but it means that there might be more people there who are, just pass holders and locals who want to go back to see characters.
Right.
So it's multifaceted whether it will be worth it or not for crowds. But the crowds are just so unlike anything I've really seen in a while. And it's pretty surprising because this is the only time that we've had to make reservations to go to the park and yet busy. So hopefully you will be outside the spring break window.
I hope
so too.
What about this genie pass thing?
Okay. So my podcast episode this week is all about Disney Genie Plus.
Ooh.
And there is, if you've heard bad word of mouth about Disney Genie Plus, it's coming out of Florida because it is the same product, but works completely different at Disneyland Resort in California as opposed to Walt Disney World Resort in Florida. So in California, you can really utilize it to do a lot more, but you have to be like on your phone in the app, booking stuff, knowing what you're doing. It depends because you're going with kids. I don't know how aggressive you're going to be about rides, and might make more sense to just like play it cool and do the ones you really want to do and not worry about it. But if you are willing to do it, it's $20 per person for the day. And it can basically just help you get on something like Dumbo or I'm trying to think because you have little kids. What is height that has that? No, they wouldn't go on that. Tomorrowland. No, is it Autopia? Stuff like that. You'd be able to get on that quicker. But it's a real like, do we think we really need this? Would we rather just wait it out for Dumbo one time? That type of vibe.
Well, I imagine like some of us will want to go on like Space Mountain, or I know Elliot likes Thunder Mountain. So, and we're going with another family. So there's actually
Elliot's
a bigger,
tall enough okay,
yeah. So there's actually, so it's us, and then there's another family going. So there will be, I cannot do math. So there'll be 8 of us all together.
Gotcha.
So 4 adults, 4 kids.
So if you have 2 separate parties, I think you would all want to be on the same page. So either everyone gets it or no one gets it.
And so if you're on it, then it like tells you to go to the ride now and then you go to the front, or how does that work?
So there, again, the naming of this is very confusing, but there is Disney Genie, which is a free product available to anyone who's attending the park. And basically it'll tell you what the regular stats are. So how long you can expect to wait when waits are lower, when waits are higher for specific rides. I don't use it, which I think should tell you everything.
Okay.
Disney Genie Plus is the paid product. And that basically is like Max Pass, and it lets you use it's a new version of Fast Pass.
Okay.
So it lets you pay one flat fee for the whole day, and you can book multiple return tickets to different rides throughout both parks. And then there's this other thing, which is called basically individual attraction selection, or casually people call it like individual lightning lanes, because lightning lane is the actual space you walk through. The names are not good. We're just powering through, but that will let you go on like the big ticket rides. So your Rise of the Resistance, your Radiator Springs Racers, that is a separate fee from Disney Genie Plus.
Do you have to have Disney Genie Plus to pay that?
You do not. So you can do both. You can throw a bunch of money at it, and you can do Disney Genie Plus and book per ride. You can book 2 rides total per person throughout the day with that individual one. You can just do one if you're like, we just want to do Radiator Springs Racers and just hang out. You can do that. You can do none and just use the free product. So you have a lot of options. But I think if there is someone who's willing to be what I usually call trip mom, where you're on the phone booking everyone's stuff, if someone is willing to do that, I would get Disney Genie Plus for everyone.
Because then we will not be waiting in line very much.
You will be waiting in line less than you would have.
Okay. And if, by the way, you work at Disneyland, right? If
me being like, I never say this stuff out loud. I just type it. I hope my brain still works.
One more question.
Yes,
thank you for letting me.
This is what I do. I mean, God, I hope it feels like an AP exam, and I'm passing.
Oh, you're getting a 5.
Yes, my first 5.
You're getting a 5. You will. When you go to college, you'll have a credit from this.
Oh my God. I want to take a 101 intro to Disneyland.
When you do the lightning lane, let's say
Yes.
for Radiator Springs or something, do you have a sense of like how long you then still have to wait in line?
You don't wait in line that long. It's pretty similar to what it was with Fast Pass, but it really depends on attraction I've experienced. For example, I recently used it to go on Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, and I thought I would wait for a while, and I didn't. Indiana Jones ends up being a longer wait. It also depends on if the ride stops or if it goes down or if it's loading
okay.
slowly, but you definitely 100% board faster.
Is there any like must-see stuff that you would recommend?
Ooh, are the other family's children around the same age?
They are around Elliot's age. So one is Elliot's age and one is a year older.
Okay.
So 5 and 6 or 5 and 7.
This is an unpopular opinion, but the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh is all the way in the back of the park, kind of by Splash Mountain. Disney fans don't love the ride, but if you are with kids and they need to go on something and you don't want to wait a while, there is not that much of a wait. And it's right next to the back entrance to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. So if you're coming off something where maybe the kids aren't going on a ride, the parents want to go on Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run and everyone else is waiting for them, it's like a really good way to just like get to something quickly, be able to ride it, be out of the crush of Fantasyland since you're on the opposite side of the park. I think that's kind of a good thing to keep in your back pocket with kids.
Okay.
The other thing I would say is, this is separate, but familiarize yourself with Rider Switch, which is a program that basically...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it lets you, if there are people in the party who don't want to ride or perhaps can't ride because of their height, it means you only have to wait once.
Okay.
And then a second group can go once the first group comes out.
Oh, that's
Basically,
amazing.
Yeah, so a kid's not left alone.
Okay.
I don't know if it will be worth it for your group, but they did redo the Snow White attraction at Disneyland, and they did a really good job. And that
I
comes
would
from
like to see
someone
that.
who dragged it before they opened it. I was like, this looks like the one in Florida. And then I wrote it and was like, yeah, y'all killed it. So it's really nice to be, because all those Fantasyland rides are so adorable and so unique to Disneyland, but anybody who's been to Disneyland knows that, like, they're kind of a time capsule.
Right.
And so to see them update one like this in recent memory is really good.
Ooh, I
Yeah.
definitely want to see that.
Yeah. So if you're kind of like, do we want to do Mr. Toad? Do we want to do Peter Pan I love, but it is a long wait. Like
Yeah.
Snow White packs more modern punch than you might think it would.
Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely have to do that. I feel like there's some food event going on.
Yes. I'm trying to think. It should still be running the week that you're there because I think it ends end of April, but it's the Disney California Adventure Food and Wine Festival.
Yeah. Is that...
It's nice because it basically turns the whole park into just a food marketplace. And so if you're walking around, you want to grab a drink, you want to grab a weird soda, you want to grab a fun snack, it's really easy to do.
Oh, so you don't have to buy separate tickets for it?
No, not at all.
Oh, great.
It's just little marketplace stands throughout the park that have fun food. I would recommend, if you're ever in a situation where there's a really long line to order, you can go to any location. So any of these little stands throughout Disney California Adventure, you can walk up to any of them and purchase anything from any stand. And so if maybe you wanted a beer from this place and you wanted a dessert from this other place, you can pay for them at once. So you only have to wait one time and then you go pick them up separately at their individual spots.
Okay.
And that can save so much time if it's busy.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have not done Guardians of the Galaxy because it was Tower of Terror. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it was
Last
originally
time.
Twilight Zone Tower of Terror.
Yes.
That is the rare experience where every Disney fan, not me because I was for it, every Disney fan was like, how dare you take our Tower of Terror away? How dare you do this? And then it came out and people went, okay. Like, it's amazing because they really just dialed the mechanism up to 11, where before Tower of Terror is mostly a drop sensation. This shoots you up and drops you.
Oh.
So it's really dynamic. It's really fun. You will fly out of your seat. You're seatbelted, so you're fine. But you will feel like you're suspended in space, which doesn't happen a lot, especially at a Disney park.
Well, now I'm scared.
No, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. It is worth it. It is worth it. It is so much fun. If you're nervous, maybe just don't eat right before. But it's really good. It's really, really good.
It sounds fun.
Yeah.
What is Foamly? I've followed you for a long time, and I have never. Well, first, let me tell you what I suspect it is.
Okay.
Because this could be funny. Okay. So I know that, like, the Wiselites, people who are super into you, they're like your Foamly. And I suspect it has something to do with lattes or something.
Yes.
Okay. Explain, please.
Okay. So this is all a weird happy accident, but essentially, the reason I'm a journalist is because when I find something I like, I need to scream about it. And if I don't get it out of my head, I think my brain will just combust inside my skull. Like if I find something I like, every single person I know needs to find out about it, to the point where I bought that new Coca-Cola, the Starlight.
Oh yeah.
And I like burst the package open and gave one to the cashier at Target. I'm like, you have to try this. And here, it's great. Like it's just how my brain is wired. And so when I tried Starbucks' cold foam, when it first came out it must have been 2018 or 2019, when they were like introducing cold foam, I went to try it and it felt like the heavens opened up because I drink iced non-fat lattes. That's my drink. Like, that's what I drink every day. And here was a new product made out of non-fat milk, which nobody in LA stocks non-fat milk. I have to go to specific places to get it. People only care about oat. They only care about a nut milk.
Yeah.
Here was skim milk being like raised up to the top. So I freaked out and was obsessed with it and basically just kept screaming about it online. And around that time, I think it was actually directly related. I was posting on Instagram just being like, I love this. Who's having this? And then I was getting so many DMs from people who wanted to talk about that and the same stuff. Like wanted to talk about Starbucks foam, wanted to talk about Disney parks, that I'm like, this is dumb that I'm talking to each of you individually when we should all be talking.
Yes.
So I got frustrated that we couldn't all be friends, and I made a Facebook group. And now it's the Fomily, and it's just where we talk about Disney and Starbucks and so much more, like so many other life things, but still like coffee and coffee and theme parks are the main through line.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a great product too. I highly recommend it. Did I buy the Vitamix that creates it for my house? Yes, I did.
They use a Vitamix?
Yes, because someone in the Fomily worked at a Starbucks and was like, this is what it is. Like, we have the industrial version. It's a Vitamix Air AER container, and you can buy it for your home Vitamix machine. I experimented with peanut butter foam before I came here. It was delicious. Like, it is.
Do you put peanut butter in the milk?
Yeah, I tried it.
Wow.
I like put peanut butter and vanilla syrup in skim milk and then foamed it.
Wow.
Yeah, it was great.
I've never even had cold foam from Starbucks. I have a milk frother and you can put it on cold. So it's,
okay.
But maybe it's not the same.
It's like whipped cream, but I don't know who invented that skim milk could become this dense product, but
oh my God.
yeah, it's amazing.
When you said it's like whipped cream, now I like have to immediately after this podcast, I have to go out and find it. It's the consistency of whipped cream.
Yeah. So the reason I bought the container is because I would go to Starbucks all the time and I'd get it and I'd be like, this isn't enough cold foam. This isn't right. And my husband was like, I can't drive you to Starbucks and have you say they're doing it wrong when you don't work there. So like I control my product, which is great. But they have multiple different types now. So you want to get the regular cold foam, which is skim milk with a little vanilla syrup. But the other cold foam, which is sweet cream, is just, it's like a thick, too sweet, too creamy for me.
Okay.
You really just want the core product.
When I am a bit older than you, when I was growing up, there was an infomercial that would come on late at night. And if you are listening to this and you remember it, please write in ARIYMBFshow@gmail.com. It was for the something blender or something mixer. And they would make something. And she was like, you can eat it during the late show, the late, late show, the late, late, late show, and it'll never show. But it was something they would whip. It was some
was it
mixer.
Bananas?
No, it was but the thing they were selling was some blender or some mixer, and you could put in milk or something, the frother, they'd whip it up. I mean, it's almost the way you talked about whipping milk into something that's like whipped cream made me think of this thing. But you could also make mayonnaise with it, and it was just like a blender or something.
Oh.
But yeah.
But if you can make mayonnaise, that's the same aerator function as this.
Right. I got to find out what this, it was a very early infomercial that I used to just, it was hypnotic.
Foam.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I ended up with a Vitamix.
Right.
I watched it on like HSN, or I watched whatever it was on TV so often that I got my husband to get one.
You had to get it. Well, here's something else you guys are going to have to get. Bombas.
We love Bombas.
We love Bombas. They are the most comfortable socks, but they make more than socks. Bombas' mission is simple. Make the most comfortable clothes ever and match every item sold with an equal item donated. So when you buy Bombas, you are also giving to someone in need. Look, I love Bombas because they're all about comfort. I hate itchy tags. I hate them. I have to remove the tags from all my clothing items. So, I also hate scratchy seams in the neckline, and Bombas solves the problem for me. They designed their socks, shirts, and underwear to be the clothes you can't wait to put on every day. Everything they make is soft, seamless, and tagless and has a luxuriously cozy feel. Here's the thing. Here's what happens. You buy Bombas socks, shirts, underwear, and then you begin to dislike the rest of your socks, shirts, and underwear because you think, why can't you be as comfortable as Bombas? And then all you want to wear is Bombas. This happened to me with socks because Bombas socks, my favorite have they hug your feet. They have the arch support and it just feels like a hug on your foot. And I want all my clothes to hug me. Look, they're made from super soft materials like merino wool, pima cotton, and even cashmere, which makes them the perfect cozy layers. There's a pair of Bombas socks for everything you do. They come in tons of options like comfy performance styles for every sport and activity that keeps you moving. Bombas t-shirts are made with thoughtful design features like invisible seams, soft fabrics, and they're the perfect weight so they hang just right. Go to bombas.com/bestfriend to get 20% off your first purchase. That's Bombas, bombas.com/bestfriend for 20% off. Bombas.com/bestfriend. And I also want to tell you guys about Ring. We all know about the Ring video doorbell. I can't imagine life without my Ring video doorbell. But something you might not know is that Ring makes an alarm. It's true. Ring makes an alarm. It's an award-winning home security system with an available professional monitoring when you subscribe. And best of all, you can easily install it yourself. And Ring didn't stop there. They've changed the home security game with Ring Alarm Pro. And that's why I decided to work with Ring to put a ring of security around my home with the new Ring Alarm Pro. It is next level security. CNET calls the Ring Alarm Pro a giant leap for home security. And after using it, I think they're totally right. Ring Alarm Pro helps secure your entire home and the Wi-Fi it runs on. With Ring Alarm Pro, Ring combined a home security system and a Wi-Fi router. So this thing helps protect your home and secure your network. So now you have a secure network with a crazy strong signal for all the devices across your home. And if you're anything like me, that's a lot of devices. Look, I've told you, when we moved into this house, Daniel told me his dream of having a smart home, everything in the home controlled on his phone. And I said, honey, I don't share that dream. And now look at us all these months later, and everything in this home is controlled by his phone. Not my phone, his phone. Am I bitter? Maybe a little bit, but I have to admit it is nice to have it all controlled by his phone. And now it is all protected by our ring of security. And we just took a vacation, and it was so nice to know that our home was protected. We could monitor it from far away. We had cameras on the home. We had Ring on the job, making sure that everything was secure. You guys have heard me tell this story. I've told it 1,000 times, so I'll just make it super fast. But when we moved in, we wanted to get an alarm system. I did not want to go with one of those companies where it's just a whole rigmarole. They come out, they set it up, you're dependent on them. I've heard too many horror stories from people about these companies. And then I found out that Ring had an alarm, and I was familiar with Ring and I love the company, but at that time I didn't know they had an alarm. When I found that out, we went out that day and we got the Ring alarm and we installed it ourselves. Daniel did. He installed it. But I think I could have done it actually, because it's very easy to install. And then it's just been smooth sailing ever since. We've been so happy with it. And now we have the Ring Alarm Pro, even more happy. And it's just great. You get professional monitoring, ultimate peace of mind. Look, you may not have known, but it's true. Ring has an award-winning alarm. And to protect my home, I've gone pro with Ring Alarm Pro. To learn more, go to ring.com/bestfriend. That's ring.com/best friend. Okay, we're back.
That was great.
I feel like I was gone for hours. I feel like I took a vacation.
I felt like I was watching an infomercial. It was
Oh
great.
my God, thank you. Did you want to?
Nice to see it live.
Thank you. Listen, I have some questions that listeners sent in on Patreon, patreon.com/Allison Rosen. You can go there for bonus episodes, behind the scenes content. There's a level where you can text me and I'll text you.
Oh, that's fun.
Yes, it's very fun. In fact, I was telling them, the people in I don't call them my family, but I wish I did. But I was telling my family today that I was going to be recording with you in person for the first time ever, and that I'm nervous that my house is a mess. So
oh my God, no, I loved your house.
Thank you. They were very reassuring, and they were excited that I was going to see you in person. But anyway, they have some questions, because one of the things, if you're part of my Patreon, patreon.com/Allison Rosen, is you can submit questions for the guests, and if you sign up for an annual subscription, you get 2 months free. Patreon.com/Allison Rosen. Okay.
When we ask, they send them in. They're wondering how you have been. So thanks so much for answering these questions from our fans.
Karen Quinn wants to know, when did you first feel comfortable visiting parks again since COVID? Did you find some theme parks cleaner than others?
Ooh, really good question. So I visited the parks again for work before for pleasure. I attended Walt Disney World's opening day, which was summer 2020. It was intense. I took it slowly. I was there for a week. I gave myself enough time. So I mean, it was the cleanest place I've ever been in my entire life, surface wise. But the whole problem with COVID is that you don't know unless we see mask wearing and things like that, which they had at that time. But have I seen a difference between parks? Or I guess there's no way to say when I went for leisure, because there was always a visit for work before I went for fun. So yeah, I've been going here and there, but I've been very, very cautious about all of it, and still wear my mask when I go to the park even now, just because it's a lot of people. Cleanliness wise, I have just been doing less since 2020. So I haven't traveled to too many parks that aren't Disney or Universal. I haven't been to many what you would call regional parks, like a Six Flags or a theme park that's specific to a location, which might have less industrial level cleaning than the Giants do. But I have seen different levels of things like mask enforcement, and that was readily apparent during the peak days of the pandemic. And then seeing which parks kind of slipped first. I mean, I saw photos online and things, but Disney really kept a tight standard for a long, long time about all of those type of safety, cleanliness details.
How are they now? Do you know?
Things feel very, very normal. And Disney has a really good baseline of park cleanliness, but it's definitely not. There was a time when they were stopping rides to sanitize them every hour, to sanitize every single ride vehicle. I'm that's never happening again.
Right.
But I pray that never happens again. But it's still, right now, there's just so many people there. You don't even really think about it.
I think when we went, because we went in May 2021, maybe, I think they were requiring masks outside.
Yeah. They were for a while, and they definitely have been changing it just depending on how time goes.
Right.
But California statewide had so many restrictions that really separated the California guidance from the Florida guidance.
Right.
Because Universal Studios Hollywood had the most stringent restrictions for so long because they're in LA County, and LA County was not messing around.
Right. Tiffany Fuller says, do you have or still have a sense of unreality to enjoy an attraction, or because you know how the sausage Krakatoa punch is made, is it more cynical?
I'm still able to enjoy it. I think that there are certain experiences where maybe I've written about it too much, or I can't see past it. I can't see past the flaws on things like Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, which I think is a really smart attraction, a really cool situation. When you enter, they have the full scale Falcon on your right, and then you enter and then you're piloting it. I think that is all amazing, but I cannot enjoy that ride without thinking about how much of a mistake it was to set a ride up where there's two people in control of the ride vehicle, because what they've done by doing that is that most people are visiting with 2, 3, 4 people. It's rare that you'll have a group of 6.
Yeah.
So your party will be mixed with another family, another group, possibly 2. And by doing that, two people are sitting in the pilot seat of the Millennium Falcon, which means that they are controlling what your vehicle does. And you may not know them. And so you are just a passenger to them steering poorly or steering great. And it's a variable that I don't think works well when you have people visiting these resorts maybe once ever, maybe once every 5 years. And I think that that is something I cannot see past.
Yeah.
But otherwise, that's kind of the fun part of being able to ride things for work. Like if I go to an opening, I'm able to go on it before there's YouTube videos of it, before people have tweeted out opinions. So I'm really, really able to just go on it. And I try to ride things at least 3 times at an opening. So like once to really approach it from a work perspective, once to just enjoy it as a fan, and then at the end to really like think about what the overarching theme of my review will be. But by being able to do that means that there is an opportunity for me to just enjoy it on my own, just like zone out and forget work for at least a minute. So I think it all balances out.
How much them steering it does it actually, like, what does that control? Does it control the movement of it?
Yeah, because it's as though you're in the cockpit of a ship. So if the two pilots steer left or right or up and down, you move left or right or up and down. And if the two people don't steer it well, then you're just bobbing around. Even though the people in the back are engineers or gunners, which is like their position, and you press buttons and you do stuff. They're not in charge of what the vehicle movement is. The two people in the front are.
Right.
And leaving that up to what are sometimes someone's 5-year-old or just like people who have no idea how a joystick works.
Yeah.
That is a variable that I wish they wouldn't have included in a theme park attraction.
Right. So do you think it should have been like kind of preset?
I don't know. I'm really unsure how they could have fixed it, but I think there should have been something where there should have been a way where it's not that up to two people.
Right.
Or everyone should have a balanced experience where the two positions in the back, the gunner and the engineers, have as much of an influence over the ship's movement by doing something within the attraction.
Right.
Yeah.
Veronica says, what are her thoughts about Six Flags? I haven't been to one since childhood, and I'm about to go as a teacher chaperone with 68th graders.
Oh my God.
I know. I love Disney and Universal, but don't know much about Six Flags. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Well, so I'm scared of the big boys, like the real roller coasters. So that's the only reason I don't go to Six Flags a lot, because I tried to do it once. There was a time in this line of work where I thought like, oh, maybe I should review roller coasters. Like maybe I should be writing about this. And I went and I like whited out, which is where you like don't pass out, but you get very dizzy. And I was like, I don't know I can do this. And I went to my doctor and she's like, I can give you beta blockers, but I advise against this. So I stopped that charade and no longer really go there. But Six Flags has some good rides. They're just really focused on thrills and less so theming. And the reason I love Disney and Universal is because there's so much going on beyond just the ride, just the entire experience, the lands, the characters. And Six Flags has less of that. But if you're going with that many kids, you're going to be busy. So I think you're going to have a time regardless.
I'm so overwhelmed by the notion of 68th graders. Is that because of the pandemic that sounds like an insane situation? Because really, it's not that much. It's like, so like a public, okay, I went to a private, in 8th grade, I went to a private school where each class had 24 and there were 2 classes. But but I went to a public high school. But I think the public 8th grade, each class had about 30. So it's really just like 2 classes. It's really not that many.
I'm scared of 2 8th graders. I can't. They're not.
But she's a teacher, so this is her line of work.
I don't understand how any teacher does it, truly.
I know.
Like, that is the hardest job in the world, compounded with the fact that they all have phones and they're all cool now because they have the internet. They can find out anything they want.
They're little influencers.
Yes, they're like small, tiny adults.
If I walk by a group of teenagers and they're laughing, that scares me.
Okay, the other day I was leaving. I went to a 6:00 dinner with my friend Colin, like really starting strong. And I was walking to my car and these 3, they were like 19, 20, but of course they were 19, 20. They were so hot. They were like walking towards me and I, of course, cowered and then stepped aside to let them have the whole sidewalk. They deserve it. And one of them turned and goes, cute outfit.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, me? And then I had to be like, were they making fun of me? I don't know. know.
Yeah.
But I'm terrified of anyone young. Terrified of them.
Yeah.
Terrified. And that many running around a park.
I know.
I mean, they're just going to like try to sneak away to kiss, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
Here's what I wonder. How could you possibly go to a theme park with 68th graders and return with 68th graders?
Oh, no way.
You're coming home with 44 or something.
Yeah.
Like there's no...
Yeah, because if they're
It
like,
just seems
I'm
impossible.
staying, you can't
No.
you can't say no to these kids. I would never be able to do that. That's terrible.
Veronica, how do you do it?
How do you do it?
And is this like the entire 8th grade or what is going on?
I hope you're not the only one assigned to them.
She can't be. There's no way. They would never set one teacher loose with
they're
them.
kind of like, aren't a lot of teachers, aren't they low on staff?
Oh, maybe.
Oh God. Am I gleaning all my information from Abbott Elementary and like the one random TikTok I get about schools? Yes. But
Do I need to watch Abbott Elementary?
Yeah,
I keep hearing
it's great.
it's so good.
It's great.
Yeah.
And I watch every network show.
Okay.
And this is the only one that other people are saying is also great.
I need to start watching it. Yeah, Veronica, we're going to need more details.
Yeah. And was this like a science trip? Was this an orchestra trip? Because we did that in high school where you'd like go to random velocity or whatever. Or I don't know why we did an orchestra trip, but we did.
Interesting.
So I'm curious if it's like smarty kids who just really want to fill out the worksheet or not.
You were in the orchestra?
Yeah. My
What'd you
parents
play?
made me. I started with violin because it's the easiest one you're like, oh, I hold it. Cool. And then I eventually switched to upright bass.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Do you still play it all?
No, it's too big, too cumbersome. I was not talented. I did it, but it was not a gift.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause you're just in the back like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like it's not
Still though.
like playing a solo is really not great.
I still think that's fun. But is it the pandemic? Because I think it's the pandemic that's making me think 68th graders is like, it's like oh my God, that's like an infestation.
I'm just scared of being in charge of anything.
Yeah.
And so being in charge, like being at the front of the bus for that many kids who all have phones.
I know.
Oh God.
Okay, Amy Quilla Stapleton says, nope, I think it's Amy Quilla Stapleton. Does the Galactic Starcruiser really pull off the immersive experience / did you find yourself feeling lame or dorky for fully participating in missions? Wait, is that the hotel?
Yes. Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser, commonly known as Star Wars Hotel, which I experienced last month, 2 months. I don't know how time goes. A few weeks ago.
It was that recently?
Yeah, it was really recently.
Really?
I think it was end of February.
Okay.
Yeah, end of February. I did not feel dorky or lame one bit. And I think that's what makes it so special is that the fans who are going to this are so committed to being a part of it that's the benefit you get from it is that other people, even if you're not, there were people on my cruise who I never spoke with, but were so dedicated to playing a character. And we're talking passengers. Were so committed to their costume that it just added to the atmosphere for everyone. And what I will say, especially for any fans listening, is that I interviewed people for a story I wrote for Bloomberg who had went on one of the initial ones. I went for media. These were paid visitors. And it's the only time in my life that I've interviewed someone and they've started to cry. And the quotes that they gave me were unbelievable. They said that things like they've never been able to feel themselves more than within this experience.
Oh my gosh.
Like living their true lives. Like it was the highlight of their life, stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
Which is incredible. I think it does live up to being a really immersive space, but something the more you get into Star Wars fandom, I think the less people agree with that, because one of the things that's stuck with me that I've heard is that a true Star Wars space isn't always like fun and sterile. When you get a really sterile, clean Star Wars space, it's usually like first order, bad things are happening, stormtroopers live there. And there is an element to that on this luxury cruise liner that is the Halcyon, which is the name of the Starcruiser. But I think they did a really good job. And if someone is a huge Star Wars fan who just wants to live in that environment for 2 nights, this is the best you're ever going to get.
Now, is it true that... Wait, Daniel told me something about Space Mountain being redone as a Star Wars
Yeah, they
ride?
do this. It's called an overlay. So it'll be Hyperspace Mountain. So they'll have a theming and music and lights, and it has just Star Wars elements to it, like little like noises and visuals and stuff like that. But it's still the same ride. It's just a seasonal change.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, then Amy says, and
Oh, I do want to say one more thing
Yes.
about, I forget the name of the person who wrote in.
She's also Amy.
Oh, also Amy. So
Yes.
first Amy. In terms of the missions, I felt a little weird just because I'm rusty with walking up to a person. So there's characters on the ship and you can walk up to them. You can converse with them inside the app, or you can just like truly walk up to them and talk to them, which is something I do not feel normal doing after pandemic, like cruising right up to a stranger and being like, so tell me like how to get this done. That is something that really freaked me out. So pandemic wise, like I don't have that social skill back yet, but I didn't feel lame or dorky doing it because it's kind of like talking to any character in a Disney park, except that here there's actual reasons to like make believe with them instead of just being like, oh, Elsa, how's your ice palace?
Right.
Like here it moves your own narrative forward. So it does not feel dorky or lame at all. I just personally felt very self-conscious speaking to someone in character because it was weird for me.
Yeah. When we were at Disneyland, we were at the end of the day and something was about to close and we were trying quickly to get to another ride before it closed. And we were in Star Wars Land, which is not the name of it. What is it called?
Star Wars Galaxy Edge.
That's right.
But it's fine.
And I asked a character, excuse me, do you know where this is? But I didn't realize it was a character. I just thought it was someone who worked at Disneyland.
Yeah.
And then her like handler or someone is like, oh, she wouldn't know that, but I think it's this way or something. And I felt very corrected kind of, you know?
Oh my God.
Yeah. I felt almost like, oh, I'm sorry. And then I just somehow had lived my life up to this point, not realizing the rules of characters that like, they do not know anything that wouldn't exist in their character world. And now that I'm on TikTok and I like, you know, there's some former character people who talk about all that goes into that. Like now I'm very clear on that, but yeah I gotta.
Though usually they're
scolded almost.
I mean, this skill level of anybody who is what they call quote unquote friends with a character.
Yes.
So anyone who is friends with whomever you might have run into, they're usually so sly about it. Like they're so good where if you asked where a bathroom was, they'd be like, oh, I'm not sure where the refresher is, but it might be this way towards the ship. Like they're just so good at acting that usually it might have been just because like it was a one-off where like, oh, you were asking something and someone cut in.
Yeah.
But usually like they can really work their way around anything.
Yeah. No, she didn't even respond to me. It was just the one nearby just, I think I was asking like where Winnie the Pooh was or something, actually speaking
Oh,
of.
yeah. And that's, I think they would be like, that's a creature I don't know from my universe.
Right. Yeah.
There's a weird thing where, like socially, if you work at a park or you're like guest facing, you're not supposed to say no. And you're supposed to just kind of find a solution or find someone who can help. But in terms of something like that, it could be like too brain draining for the character to figure out how to be like, Winnie the Pooh, interesting. Tell me who that like villain is. That someone was just like, I got you.
Right. Right. Yeah. I don't know how I didn't realize it was a character.
There's this one character, Vi, who is just a person in a wig kind of sauntering around.
Yeah, it was like someone in a shop that looked like this person was like straightening things up or something.
Oh.
I don't know. It was a very subtle character.
Huh.
Who just looked also we were just kind of desperate and in a rush. So
yeah. I wonder who it was.
Whoever it was, they don't know where Winnie the Pooh is.
Oh.
That's what I have to say about that. Did you know also if you're ever on live television, you're not supposed to say no or you don't know? That's what I mean, that's what I learned in my like 1.5 hour of media training before I went on TV for Time Out New York. They said like, yeah, if they ask you a question, you don't know the answer, just don't say you don't know. Say, I'm going to have to get back to you on that one. And I was like, but I'm not ever going to really get back to them on that one. But thankfully it never really came up.
But you're not holding like a White House press conference.
I know.
Wow. How are you going to get back to someone in an interview?
I know.
Oh my God.
Well, it was like I was going on, you know, doing like best, you know, Alice Frozen from Time Out New York, telling us about events going on in the city. So, you know, if they were to be like, and how much does this event cost? Like, you know, I'm going to have to get back to you on that one or so. I don't know.
Okay.
Just so I seem informed or something.
Yeah.
Those are the questions. And those were some great questions. No, I have one more. What am I saying? From the other Amy.
I cut you off from the second Amy. I'm sorry, second Amy.
So, second Amy, we are sorry. This one's dark. Weird theme park deaths, people dying on rides malfunctioning, choking on fried dough. I don't know. Too morbid?
While I appreciate the energy, I think just to save myself from getting a call, I cannot comply with any answers. But what I will say is that I thought there would be more stories like that when I started this job, and the safety standards are so off the charts at Disney parks that it's like that stuff just doesn't happen for the most part.
That makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Because it is for that reason.
But if you Google around, there are many, many details.
Of
older things that have happened.
At Disney?
At theme parks.
Yeah. There's that documentary that Chris Gethard is in.
Oh, Action Park.
Yes.
Yeah, if you're looking for amusements and death, Action Park is what you want.
Yes.
A very unsafe New Jersey spot that is intense.
So, Bob Baker Marionette Theater.
Yeah.
You went to, they had like a big, what was the thing you went to yesterday?
Bob Baker Day. So it's like an annual celebration of the theater, of its founder, Bob Baker, obviously. And this year was bigger than it's ever been. So it felt kind of like a music festival. Yeah.
But what went on? Tell me about it. Because so Elliot had a little stomach bug yesterday morning. Otherwise, I think I would have tried to talk us all into going.
Yeah, it was kind of hot and it's outdoors and you have to go downtown. So I get it. Traffic was crazy. Sorry to anyone who doesn't live in LA who doesn't care. But it was so much fun because they have hourly puppet shows or marionette shows that are done by the theater. But then they also have other people in I would say the larger marionette cinematic universe. So you have
cool.
Like different live performers. There's a kids' talent show. They have the puppeteers walking around. And then you have David Arquette playing Bozo the Clown.
What?
Which is a real thing I experienced with my eyes yesterday.
How was that?
Intriguing. It was not the Bozo I grew up with.
What was he doing as Bozo?
Kind of stomping around.
Was it overly interactive?
So it was Bozo the Clown and Friends, and there is a secondary new Bozo clown named, I believe her name is Jozo.
Oh God.
Jozo. I think it's Jozo. And it's the first female Bozo clown, which is great. We love representation in the clown world. But the show, there was a stage show, and it was Bozo the Clown and Friends. And it was maybe 10 people, 11 people, and they kind of stomped around the stage. They kind of like mimicked a performer, and then they sang a song.
This doesn't sound good.
There were no buckets. For me, like the buckets are a really big part. Mm-hmm. But I mean, that's the most noteworthy part. Otherwise, Bob Baker Marionette Theater is this incredible historic theater in LA. It's a 501c3 nonprofit. They do a bunch of community outreach. If you live in the area, like you grew up with it, it's this theater that now like some performers work at who grew up going to this every year. They still play they do these live marionette shows all the time that are old music and like the old choreography, and it's very magical. And sometimes a puppet sits in your lap, and it's truly unlike any feeling you've ever had. And they have this huge outdoor festival with vendors and music and food and merch and just so much stuff. I was there for 4 or 5 hours.
Oh my God.
And I don't have kids.
Yeah.
It was just me like enjoying the puppets with my dog. It was really nice. It was a really, really great day.
I got to go to the next one.
Oh my
next
God.
year.
But even like the theater, if anyone's ever in town, I always recommend it. If you want like a dose of history and something charming that's also kid friendly and extremely whimsical, I highly recommend it.
Check it out.
I love them.
Carlye, it was so nice meeting you in person for the first time.
You too. You don't just exist in Zoom.
I know. We actually exist in 3D.
Yeah.
Tony's going to be so bummed.
I know. Well, now it's like another adventure to meet Tony.
I know. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Next time. Let's see. Is there anything we need to tell everyone? Let's see. Everyone should go listen to Very Amusing.
Oh, thank you.
They should go read your cookie story, your ASME award-winning cookie story.
Never thought I'd hear it, but
what else?
I mean, I'm online all the time talking about theme parks. You can find me at Carlye Wisel on Twitter and on Instagram, and the Fomily is at facebook.com/groups/Carlye Wisel. But if you have any theme park questions, I get a lot of DMs and kind of emails, and I almost never am able to open everything. So if you have questions, you can call my hotline for my podcast, which is 747-CHURROS. And if you leave me a voicemail, the odds are like 90 to 100% I will be able to answer any trip question you have. So if you're like, oh, this person might be able to fix insert problem, call 747 churros and a weird lady will answer it for you.
How did you get 747 churros?
No one was looking for it. I think it has to be because there's no, like, if it was pizza, I'm sure it would be gone.
Yeah.
But no one's really like hawking a churros business.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Listen, you guys, if you like what you're hearing, and even if you don't, please leave me a nice review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening. 5 stars. Keep those reviews coming and make sure you're subscribed. And listen to my other podcasts, Upworthy Weekly and Childish. And I have a newsletter, AllisonRosen.substack.com. And I mentioned my Patreon. And follow me on social media at Allison Rosen on Twitter and Instagram. And I feel like that's it. And I'm sure I'm forgetting things, but you guys know how to find me. I'm out there, right?
Yeah, you're
what
out
have
there.
I forgotten? I feel like we know how to do this stuff.
Yeah, if you're like,
you know?
what is Allison thinking? There's multiple ways to find out.
Oh my God, my thoughts are everywhere.
Yeah, it's nice. I
think
love when you
so.
post to Instagram from your computer.
Oh my God. I can't believe it makes me angry at all the time I spent just tapping on my phone because I can't even see it anymore.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah. And because you did it, I'm like, hell yeah, I'm going to do that.
Oh, it's so
And I
much
did.
easier.
It was great.
It's so much easier.
So much easier.
It's so much easier.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much. Jeff said to tell you hi. You're so funny, by the way. Thank you. It's so delightful.
Yeah, tell Jeff I say hi.
I will.
He's going to hear from me tomorrow, but
listeners, thank you for listening. I love you. You matter. Goodbye.
Hey, do you know about the Allison Rosen show? We had a good time, but now we gotta go. Yeah, Allison Rosen is your new best friend.